Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my favorite drugstore brow products. So if you would like to see some of my affordable favorites, please keep watching. So I have quite a few products, believe it or not. So I think I'm going to start off with like brow mascaras because there's like different types. Like there's some that just put some highlights. There's some in here that make your brows thicker, and some of them just like set your brows. So my first favorite, I actually just repurchased this. This is the NYX Tinted Brow Mascara, and I have the shade Blonde. So this doesn't make your brows like thicker or anything, but it does leave like nice highlights in them. So I really like this, but this does not like set your brows. Like I still need to go in with like a clear brow gel, but I love how this looks with like the added highlights into my brows, especially if I use like a brow pomade or a brow pencil that's a little bit too dark. This will lighten it up and it just makes it look more natural. Then this next one actually adds volume and makes my brows look thicker. This is from Maybelline, and this is the Brow Precise Fiber Volumizer. This is in the shade Blonde. So this is going to give you that like thicker brow appearance, I guess. And like the wand is super weird. It's like a comb. Then I have the Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Mascara. This is kind of like the NYX Brow Mascara, where it's just going to add some highlights. It's not going to make them thicker or anything, but this is like another one that I really like for that. Ooh, and this is like my newfound favorite. This I think is a dupe for the Anastasia Dip Brow Gel that comes in like a tube or whatever. This will make your brows thicker and it does set them, but I still like to go in with like a clear brow mascara on top just to make sure they're like fully set. But you could get away with just using this, and I also think this would be really good for you if you already have like thick brows but you just want to lay them in place or make them like, if you already have like a defined brow where you don't really need to like fill in, I guess is what I'm saying, this would be like the perfect thing for you. This is in the shade Light, and it's the Covergirl Easy Breezy Brow. Oh, seriously, I've already put it like on all social media. It has like a little tiny wand. I love this. And then this is my favorite clear brow gel at the moment from the drugstore. This is the Covergirl Easy Breezy Brow in clear. So it's just the exact same thing but clear, obviously. But this is really good too. So I have two more brow mascara type things. The next thing, I think everybody has tried this at this point. This is the Essence Make Me Brow Eyebrow Gel Mascara. This is a good dupe for the Benefit Gimme Brow, and it's like $3. And the Gimme Brow is like 20 or something. I don't know, it's ridiculous. This is in the shade Blondie Brows. I use this all the time. This is like a mixture between a brow mascara and like a fiber brow mascara. So it's not going to make your brows as thick as the CoverGirl one I showed you. It's kind of like that in between tinted highlights and then a little bit thicker, if that makes sense. But this is a really good, affordable kind of in between brow mascara. Hopefully that makes sense. And then also the wand on this is like super tiny. So it's really easy to like get in there. The last one I have is from Ulta Beauty, and this is the Brow Tint. This is also in the shade Blonde. A little tiny spoolie. Now this is going to make your brows a little bit thicker. It's not going to make them super thick like the CoverGirl one, but again, it's kind of like that in-between brow mascara with highlights and make them thicker. I really hope I'm making sense right now, but these two are super similar, the Ulta Beauty Brow Tint and the Essence Make Me Brow. These are very similar, so if you've already tried this, you will probably like this. If you just want to like change it up a little bit and try something different, I think that you will definitely like both of these. Next, for brow pencils, very rarely do I use brow pencils to fill in my entire brow unless I just got them waxed. I haven't got my brows waxed in like 6 months, but I really like brow pencils for my tail, or if I just need to add like a little bit of brow strokes like somewhere randomly throughout my brow. But like I said, I don't usually use them to fill in my entire brow, but I do have a few favorites. This one right here is from Profusion. This is the Brow Defining Pencil. I love the spoolie. It's like short and thick and like kind of stiff, and I just like how it really like blends out the brow, especially if you're like a little heavy-handed. And then the other side is kind of like that triangle brow shape, so I really like this. Well, I mean, obviously I like all this stuff. This is my favorite brow products. Then I have the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer. This is the Ultra Fine Tip Shaping Pencil, and I have the shade Blonde. So this has like a skinnier spoolie that's still really nice. And then this is, it kind of reminds me of the Anastasia brow pencil, like the slim one. I'm not exactly sure what that's called, but this is like super tiny, so it's really easy to really like get a straight line on the tails, or if you want to make little tiny brow strokes. Because this pencil tip is like so small, it's very, very easy to use. I'm going to show you a quick swatch of the Profusion one, because some of these are like gray undertone or taupey kind of. Some of them are more waxy than others. So this right here is the Profusion one. It is pretty waxy, but it's also going to hold down your brows. And this is more of like a gray taupey undertone shade. So here's a swatch of the L'Oreal one. So this, it's kind of like a stiffer formula, but it's really going to help create those like brow strokes. But because the formula is a little bit drying, it's a little bit difficult to fully like draw on your brow. So I like to use this to make like the fake hair strokes, or to like make my tail of my brows like more defined. And this is kind of like, it's not as dark as a Profusion one. It's about a shade or two lighter, but it's still that like gray undertone. Then we have the infamous NYX Micro Brow Pencil. This is in the shade Taupe. So on one side you do have a spoolie, and then you have the product on the other, and like it said, it's micro, so it's like the same thing as the L'Oreal one. This to me has more of like a gray kind of camely undertone. Sorry if they all look the same. I'm trying my best to like describe the shades, but this one's just like a tad bit darker than the L'Oreal one I just showed you right here in the middle. But it's kind of like the same formula, where it's kind of like that, it kind of like pulls because the formula is kind of dry. Then this is another newfound favorite. This is from Covergirl. This is in the shade Honey Brown. So I specifically only use this for the tail of my brows because I like kind of like that ombre look. And this is the Ultra Fine Brow Pencil. So you do have the spoolie on one side, and then the product on the other. Again, this is another one of those like micro brow pencils. So this to me is, it's pretty similar to like the taupe shades, but I know it's called Honey Brown, I think is what it is. So even though it's called Honey Brown, it's still really similar to the other blonde brow pencils that I use. It's just a smidge darker, and the formula is a little bit more creamy. It's still pretty dry. Then the last one, which is the cheapest one, this is really good. This is from e.l.f. I believe it's $1. So we have the brow product on the other side. Now this is like a thicker pencil. So when I use this before I put powder on my face, so I do foundation, concealer, and then if I fill in my brows, if I'm going to be using a thicker brow pencil or a pomade, I like to use this before I do my powder, because then I can go in with concealer and kind of clean it up if I mess up. And that typically happens to me if I'm using like a thicker pencil, but I really like this. Again, this is in the shade, I'm assuming it's Blonde, that's Taupe, and that's the shade right here. So again, the formula is a little bit more drying, but I can fill in my entire brow with this because it is like a thicker pencil and it's not as drying as the slimmer pencils that I showed you. Then I have one brow powder. This is the Ulta Beauty brow powder. This is pretty good. This is in the shade Taupe. So you do get two shades right here. So the lighter shade I use for like the front of my brow to about the middle, and then the darker shade I go in and I take it from the middle all the way to the tail. So I use this more as like an ombre kind of brow, but this is like really good to, if I use like a pomade and there's still kind of like sparse areas, but I don't want to add a bunch of pomade because I don't want to make my eyebrows look too fake, you know what I mean? So I'll go in with this and I'll just kind of like feather it in there just to cover up those sparse areas. And then I like to take this with the eyebrow brush and kind of flick it up in the, right here, is that the center? Like, I don't know, whatever this part of your brow is, I like to flick it up like that, and then it just makes it look more natural. For pomade, so these are definitely my favorite products out of all of these products for sure. These are from e.l.f. and these are the Lock-On Liner and Brow Creams. I've only used them for brow creams. I don't know how they work as like an eyeliner, but these are so good. Like, I will forever repurchase these. So this first one right here is in light brown. They're so so creamy. They go on, they just glide on. They're so good. Like, I prefer these over the Anastasia Dip Brow, if I'm being 100% honest. And they're affordable, so it's even better. So again, I don't know if I said the shade, but this is in light brown, so I usually just use this just for the tail of my brow. And then I also have the shade Taupe Blonde, and I'll either like fill in my entire brow with this or just like the front part, and then I'll use the light brown and do the tail. But I'm telling you, if you like pomades, like, you need to try these. They're so good. Then I have another CoverGirl pomade. This is in the shade 715. It's a blonde shade. I don't know if it's blonde or taupe. I can't see. The only thing I don't like about this is it does come with a brush. So, I mean, that's good, but the brush is not good. So, the concept is cool, but the brush is not very good. So, I don't even use it. But, ooh, I really like this because unlike the e.l.f. brow creams that I showed you, those are like super creamy and they go on like butter. This is more of like a thicker consistency, so it kind of reminds me of the Benefit, what is this, cream gel brow thing that comes in this. So obviously it looks the same, so it's kind of like the same concept because it says a little brush on the tip too. So these two to me have the same formula, but this one's cheaper. Then I have one more set of brow powders. This is from Profusion, and this has a waxy brow primer, then a brow highlight, and then you get two different brow powder shades. So again, I take the lightest shade right here called Taupe, and I usually fill in the front of my brow to the middle. Then I take the shade called Soft Brown and I do my tail. So the only one I haven't really used like is the highlighter, because I don't really like a powder brow highlight. Not like this. I mean, it's good if you want like a matte highlighter underneath your brow, but I usually like a shimmer, so I only use this like once in a while. And then I like to take the wax on my spoolie and I like to place down my brows first, and then I'll go in with the powders. But this is also a really nice brow powder palette. Then the last thing I have is from Maybelline, and this is what I like to use if I need to clean up my brows. So this is the Brow Precise Illuminator. I have the shade Medium, and it's just kind of like a concealer stick. I use this to clean up my lipstick sometimes too. It just depends, but I love it. It's super creamy, and it really does like cover up if you get like too much brow product on your brows, because sometimes I make my brows like way too thick and I'm like, oh god, like I gotta fix that. This really does like cover it up, and then I just blend it down with a concealer brush. So that's all my favorite drugstore brow products. Let me know if any of these are your favorites, or if you have like your number one can't live without brow product from the drugstore. Let me, or affordable even, like if you can get it on Amazon, whatever. Let me know what it is in the comments below so I can definitely check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and please don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys later. Bye.